Hi there, the name of this video is pretty much a giveaway. We're going to turn colorful images into black and white images. But the cool thing is we're going to have lots of control about how it goes black and white. Same with this one, black and white it, okay, color, black and white. We're even going to add a tint to recolor it. All right, exciting times. Let's get into it in Photoshop. Okay, so to get started, let's file open. And let's open up two files from the color folder. It's called black and white. There is an O1 and an O2. We'll start with O1. Now there's a few ways in Photoshop to make things black and white. The best way, in my opinion, is under adjustments. There's a slider here. Okay, this one here called black and white. Second row down, third one in. Click on that. Again, it's this non-destructive layer, which is cool because you can turn it on and off. And up here, okay, depending on what you last did, okay, you might set it back to default and it's made it black and white. Now, what's cool about this is that it is adjustable. So if I turn this eyeball off, you'll see that this is kind of considered reds, right? But let's say when I convert it to black, it's this gray, but say I want it to be darker. The reds I can drag this way. You can see you can kind of like, you got more control about it going black and white rather than going full black and white and then trying to fix it with something like levels. You've got this kind of full control here. So you just go through and decide like how you want this thing to do. So let's say I find that too dark. So I'm just going to raise the reds. Okay, I want this color here. What color is it? It is like a cyan. So I'm going to grab the cyan to try and make it lighter. I'm trying to make it a little bit more monochromatic, I guess. So you just work your way through until you find something you're happy with. Now, one little tip for you is this option here. Okay, if you hover above it, it's got a terrible name. Okay, it's got this drag an image and modify slider. Okay, so you can click on this little hand here, and what it allows you to do, instead of having to like work out what color that is, you saw before I turned the eye on and off, I'm like, you're cyan, you're magenta, and then turning it back on and trying to adjust them here, you can actually just drag on this. So I've got this selected, it goes a darker color, and let's say I want to darken up this, I click, hold with my mouse, drag it right to make it lighter, drag it left to make it darker. So often this is just easier. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of just drag them around. Maybe the background needs to be a little bit lighter. So it picks the colors for you. Say this guy here, I want you to be a bit darker to match this. Now, obviously the colors are being used in more than one place. So you will find that, okay, you might have to rob this one and kind of deal with the consequences where the colors being used over here as well. Later on when we get into masking, you will be able to kind of just work on a particular object. But for the moment, we're just doing some adjustments, clicking, holding, and dragging. Let's jump to the second example, do the same thing, and I'll show you one last trick. So adjustments, we're gonna go to black and white. I love this little inky stuff in water. We'll use this a little bit throughout the course, but I'm introducing it now mainly because I am sick of looking at shoes. Okay, I've decided for a shoe theme for this course. I kind of regret it. We're only at like video 10. So now we've got ink and water, and what we're going to do, the same thing as before, we can just adjust these, okay, but it's probably easier to click on this and say, because you see there's like two main colors in this ink splodge thing. Okay, so I'm going to turn them on, and you can just kind of start dragging. And let's say I want to make it everything darker, so I'm just dragging it to the left, okay, and it just kind of picks what colors. Okay, work around. Maybe a bit too dark down here. Okay, so that on art dragger thing is pretty cool. I turn it off. The thing I wanted to show you was this thing here called tint. We kind of looked at something called colorize when we did hue and saturation. This thing here works the exact same way. It's just a handy way of doing it. Black and whiting it in one color and going to tint. And this color here is the color it's been applied. So it's got this sepia old world color now. I can click on this and you can pick any color you like. So you drag this hue slider up and down to find the kind of color range you want. Let's say I want kind of a warm pink. Click OK. And now when I go to my little on art slider here, I'm going to decide to drag it so it's just a bit brighter. Cool, huh? So it's a good way of, you're meant to be using it just to tint it, but we've totally colorized this thing here. So there's the extra little tip. And that is it. Black and whiting is pretty easy. You get a bit of control, a little bit of extra adjustment with this little slider, and you can tint it if you need to. And always, it's non-destructive, so this thing is just underneath, ready to go. You can delete this layer by clicking it, and see this little trash can down here? You can delete him. I'm super happy with myself, so I am going to leave it here, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.